Here we are now coming up on 20 hours since this all began to unfold, and parents, there are so many parents and families there know their child didn't come home from school yesterday, and still they don't know definitively whether or not their child made it through that shooting.
Yeah, it's incredibly difficult, as you can imagine. And Bryce Newberry is at the Civic Center this morning, where parents continue to wait. Bryce, I mean, you know, it's so difficult because these parents know their lives are forever changed after this.
Sarah, very good morning. That's right, these lives are forever changed. At the same time, this should have been a time of celebration for these families the last week of school here in Uvalde. But this morning, instead, some parents still waking up after what was likely a sleepless night, looking for those answers, waiting to find out what happened. Yeah, last night at the Reunification Center, that's where some parents were asked to take those DNA swab tests so that they could then use that information to match with some of the students who were still inside of the school. Earlier in the day, the Civic Center here in Uvalde was actually where people were going to vote in the primary runoff election. Children were going to school just like any other normal Tuesday. But then as the day went on, those parents were coming to the Civic Center hoping to find their child alive and safe from that shooting here at Robb Elementary. And then by last night is when those parents had to start taking that DNA test. We spoke with one of those mothers who just didn't know what was going on.
It was the most scariest thing of my life. I wanted to find her right there and then, and I couldn't. There was limits of how to get a hold of her. They would tell me she was in one area, and then I would run to that area, and they weren't there. And then they would tell me that they were loading her on the bus, and then that wasn't going on. So it was just very hard to just kind of be okay at that moment. Okay, thanks.
And you think of just all of the uncertainty that parents had during that moment as they were trying to figure out what happened as information was coming from all over the place. This morning, we do not have the official identities of these 21 people who were killed. However, we have started hearing from some family members who say their loved ones are not coming home. As for today, starting at 10 o'clock this morning, there will be grief counselors available for students, staff, and this community waking up in mourning this morning. Barry, Sarah?